IDS Mob, HarryWilmington here, and today we're going to be talking about 5 unrealistic dating expectations that men have for women. And I bring this up because there's been a lot of talk lately about the unrealistic expectations that women oftentimes have for men and the standards that they have for us that are like really just unrealistic and that most men don't have. But I want to talk to you about expectations you may have for women that you're dating, just dating, not even in a relationship with, that could actually prove to the detriment of her attraction for you, okay? Real important, guys. Be sure to go to introvertdatingsuccess.com and sign up right now for the Introvert Dating Success Academy opening on November 1st. It's going to be the Netflix of dating advice where you can go to one place to get all the hours of information I've put together over the years, all right? So be sure to go to the website to check that out. Okay, on to the expectations. Here's the first one.
She needs to respond right away to all of my text messages and calls, or else she doesn't really like me and I'm out of here.
Now, this is a big one that I talk about a lot on my channel because guys have this idea that if a woman's gone out with them a couple of times and let's say in the beginning they were texting constantly back and forth, that's how it's going to always be, whereby you send a text and she's going to send it back right away. But usually what I find after like the second or third date, as she's starting to get comfortable with you, she's also wanting to get back to a little bit of her real life. And so sometimes that means she could be out doing other things. And when you're texting her, she wants to respond to you, but maybe not in that moment. And I think a lot of guys start to get panicked or get butthurt that all of a sudden the woman that they thought really liked them seemingly doesn't like them now by way of showing that because she's not texting back right away. And guys, that can be the case sometime. But more often than not, you got to look at if you're asking a woman out and she's consistently saying yes, showing up to dates, having a good time with you in person, let that be a better barometer for you about where her like is for you than whether or not she's texting you back right away. Because the reality is, like I said, early on, she's trying to, get to know you. She's got feelings and she's trying to figure out all these emotions that she has. But at some point, she's going to realize she has friends, family, other people to get back to. And so she can't just always be on the phone texting you. She's got a job to go to. She can't be texting you all the time at work. She's got family events and she's got downtime that she needs. So texting back to you is important. But this is also why I tell you guys, A, texting kills attraction. And B, you should only be using it in the first place to get dates so you can focus on trying to attract her more in person, which is where the real connection is going to be built, than doing it over phone when she's not in front of you and may have other things that are distracting her. So that's the first thing. Here is the second unrealistic dating expectation that men oftentimes have for women.
I asked her how she was doing, and she said she was fine. Then I found out later she wasn't fine, and she's all mad at me for not knowing that she wasn't fine. She needs to be more direct with her communication and stop expecting me to guess everything.
Now, I bring this one up because this is a thing whereby you're wanting a feminine woman. And there are many pros that come with that, but there can be also some cons. And one of them is that you may start to expect that a woman is going to communicate with you in the same way that you would communicate with her or another guy. So as guys, we typically tend to be very forthcoming in the things that we want and the things that we need. But understand, the reason women amongst themselves have kind of a passive language is because they're trying to build a sense of community. And that means not trying to be forceful or put their opinions on somebody that may seem like too much, all right? So they bring that communication skill that they've used around other women to us, and then we get frustrated that they're not being direct in their feelings. They're telling us exactly what they need. And understand, women have been in the practice at times of doing exactly that thing, whereby the man that they're doing this with suddenly responds in the wrong way or says, that's not a thing, or how can you feel that way, or you do this and that. And so they're trying to get their needs met. And at the same time, trying to watch out for your ego. And so let's say, for example, you did something that bothers her. You're thinking, if she just tells me, then I'll be fine and we can get it solved or whatever. But be realistic. How many times have you dated a woman where she tried to tell you exactly what she was thinking or feeling in the moment, and you pushed back? And you said, well, that's not a thing, or well, I meant this way, and you can't just blah, blah, blah. So women are more often than not going to be a little passive because they're trying to figure out, what's the back entrance I can use to be able to eventually, hopefully, get him to recognize and see that I have a need that needs to be filled, or I have a feeling that I want to talk about, but I don't want to seem too forceful to him or chase him away. And so this is where, on your side of things as the guy, you have to know how women communicate, why they communicate the way they do, and then at times, not all the time, because I do think that women need to get into the habit of being able to be a little more direct, but that also comes with practice of being able to be direct with you and you not punish them for it. So that means early on, you might have to be the one that when she's saying things like, oh, I'm fine, when she's really not, that you know that means you got to dig a little deeper and actually get to the root of what she's saying so that way you can get what she's really talking about. And as you do that more, she'll start to trust more that you really do have her best interest at heart. So where when she comes to you, she can be a little more direct, knowing that you're not going to push her away or think that she's crazy and that she just shouldn't be listened to and it's just all women stuff and yada, yada, yada. Like that, she needs time for that to build. But also to the point, passive communication is a very feminine way of talking. So if you're wanting a feminine woman, then recognize part of that could be that there's going to be times where she's using female communication styles, i.e. being passive, in hopes that you get it. Because in her world, other women would just get it. All right. So if you're trying to keep her feminine, don't try to turn her into a thing where she's doing consistent masculine communication because, dude, it will turn you off after a while. Anyway, here's the third unrealistic dating expectation that men oftentimes have for women.
It's been 2 dates already. I asked her for a relationship and she said she's not sure. How doesn't she know already?
This one frustrates so many men. Why? Because we know after 1 or 2 good dates, maybe a good hookup or two, that you know what? She's all I've ever wanted in a woman. And I already know that this is the woman I want to date. I'm getting off the dating apps. I'm not talking to any other women. And I'm going to focus strictly on her. And you're thinking because you feel that way, that she should feel that way as well. But I tell you guys, on average, it takes a woman 2 to 3 months to solidify her feelings for you. She needs that time to think about you, your previous dates. She needs time to assess to see if you're a trustworthy guy, if you're consistent. She needs to be able to talk to her girlfriends and her family about you and really build up a story around how you guys met. She needs to see what the through narrative is of your guys' meeting and greeting each other and going on dates and like building the story that she's going to eventually tell your kids and grandkids if you guys end up to that stage, you know? And so for you to expect her to be able to figure all that out after 1 or 2 dates is causing you to fail. Because I've heard so many stories of guys being like, well, I met her on a dating app. I texted her all the time. We went on a couple of dates. It was good. And so I stopped looking for other women. And then she tells me that she just feels like I'm a friend. And what typically happens is we feel things really early on. And then we put it on the woman that we're already there and she's not there yet. And now it feels like a forced thing. Okay. So just expect from now on, any woman you date needs 2 to 3 months. So during that time, I don't care if after the first date you went out for like 6 hours and had a good night hookup and she stayed overnight, whatever. You do not assume that that means that it's a relationship, okay? I don't care if you've gone out for a month now and she's said yes to all dates and she's like, you know, asking to come over to your place and hook up with you consistently. Until you get to month 3, do not assume a relationship is happening. Do not assume that she's at a point where she wants to bring that up, because I'm telling you guys, at the point where she really feels that you're the one she wants to be in a relationship with, she will bring it up, because it's very hard for women to connect with a guy enough to get to that stage. And so if she feels it with you, she will not be able to help herself but to bring it up. So in the meantime, show up, show her a good time. Assume if she keeps showing up that it means it's building and developing. And also for yourself, guys, I think guys can do a better job of vetting the relationship. So take your time also to really see if she's who she says she is, if she's trustworthy, if she's not doing these other things that are causing red flags to show up and to end up making you realize that she's not the one, okay? You need that time as well. The fourth unrealistic dating expectation men have for women is this.
I told her if she finds herself not interested in me, she can tell me at any time. She agreed to do so, and then, a few dates later, she ghosted me without warning. She's not a woman of her word. Why didn't she just tell me?
Now, guys, I get why you're saying this. For one, you're a little insecure, and you don't want to be surprised by her suddenly ghosting you and her realizing that maybe she doesn't want to be with you, but then still going out with you thinking she doesn't want to hurt your feelings. And so you're thinking, if you just tell her, hey, if at any time you're not interested, just tell me, then she's going to do exactly that. how often have you tried that and a woman actually done it? Like, I think of all the dates that I've been on in my entire life, or women that I've gone out with, I've had a total of like 2 women text me over the phone and say, hey, I've enjoyed getting to know you, but I'm just not feeling it. You know, my response back is always, hey, great to know it. Nice meeting you too. Because I'm giving them the experience that they usually don't get, which is I'm going to respect that they don't want to see me anymore. But for the majority of women, that's not their experience. What their experience typically is, they'll attempt to try to early on in their dating life, text the guy or say to them directly, hey, you know what? I think you're great, but you're just not for me. And the response they get back is negotiation. Why can't you see us together? What did I do wrong? Is it me? I can change. I can do this and that. If she's not trying to see you, she's not trying to hear all that. But the point is, so many guys do that she knows that even if you were legitimately saying, hey, you can tell me that you're not interested if you're not anymore, and I'll take it, whatever way I got to take it, she's not going to believe you because she's had previous bad experiences. So do not expect most women that you date to tell you they're not interested. But at the same time, here's the other ironic part, is that if you tell a woman, hey, so if you're not interested anymore, let me know, you saying that phrase shows off your insecurities, which can now make her less interested in you. So you don't need to have this speech with the woman anymore. Stop telling women, hey, if you're not interested, tell me. Just assume that you're good enough for her to want to stick around. And then if she's not, just understand, oh, that's just how women do things at times because they probably had previous bad experiences trying to get rid of a guy, and no harm, no foul. Yes, it's going to suck that she does it, but it's part of what they do sometimes, and you can't always control a woman being able to tell you some stuff that you want to hear in hopes that it's going to make the breakup a lot better, because it's really not going to. Anyway, here's the 5th and final unrealistic dating expectation that men have for women.
Ugh, she's so shallow. Just because I'm not rich and don't have a job and don't have a car and live with my mom and don't iron my clothes, well, she said she won't date me. I'll bet she's just looking for a jerk and not a real nice guy like me.
Now, this is one that so many guys that proclaim to be nice guys oftentimes say, is that they're mad and upset that a woman's not going to date them and that she must only be about the money, even though he does not have money, job, house, car, lives with his mom, doesn't have his clothes together, doesn't have any kind of style. As men, we're trying to tell women out there that we want women that are, in Kevin Samuels' words, like fine, fit, feminine, they know how to be agreeable. But at the same time, we're thinking, but they need to accept us as we are. So you're telling me that you have standards that you want a woman to meet, but you want her to come and like you when you don't have your life together, which is not a safe thing for women. So you don't have a job to support her or potential kids. You don't have money. You don't have a place for her or you to live. You don't have a means for her and you to get around town with. So that's basically laying all the burdens on her. And somehow you can't figure out why she wouldn't want you. Here's the reality, guy. Yes, there are times where women put out their unrealistic standards, but there also are some things that legitimately are perfectly fine to have. Like you having money, for example. You ain't got to be the richest guy in the world, but if you can't buy your own meal, if you can't go on a date and be tripping on yourself about trying to pay for her, you, and a tip, or you don't have a place for her to come back to where she's going to be comfortable, because going back to your mama's house, some women will do it, but most of them are going to be like, I'm not going to take this guy seriously. He's not going to be my boyfriend. I don't want that kind of lifestyle where I got to go live with the mom and I got to support everything and all this other stuff. So you can't be that guy that's like, I'm such a nice guy, and that's the only thing you have going for you. Realistically, guy, the more you look like the kind of guy that can support a woman, that can protect a woman, that can be there for her in a legitimate way, then the better chance you have of her sticking around. And so you need to get these areas of your life situated because it's going to be easier. It's not to say that where you're at right now, you can't get anybody. Hey, I was able to date when I was back in my early 20s, living at my mom's house after college and stuff, but it wasn't a lot of women. And a lot of women, once they found out what my situation was, would just suddenly I wouldn't hear from them anymore. They'd be gone. I couldn't text them. I couldn't call them because that's not something that's appealing to women. So you can't expect a woman to want to date you just because you're a nice guy, because a nice guy with no money, no job, and no prospects is not appealing to women. So those are the 5 unrealistic dating expectations that men oftentimes have for women. So guys, when you now go back to this list, look at those expectations, see if maybe you have some of these in your arsenal, and start to look at how they're possibly hurting your dating life and start to change. Like, recognize that just like women have certain expectations that are unrealistic, you have them too. And it's only hindering you, just like it's hindering all the women out there that have their unrealistic expectations as well. That's all I got for today, guys. Like I said, go to the website, introvertdatingsuccess.com, and sign up for the Introvert Dating Success Membership Academy, which is opening November 1st. This is the Netflix of dating academies, whereby you'll be able to get hundreds of hours of dating advice that's sure to help you know how to be more confident, attract more women, and date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. If you go there now and sign up, you'll get a free checklist called the Girlfriend Roadmap Checklist. It is a 3-month plan that goes from how to date a woman, getting a relationship with her, all within the span of 3 months. Once again, that's at introvertdatingsuccess.com. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm Harry Wilmington. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. I'm out. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Introvert Dating Success Podcast. Visit us at introvertdatingsuccess.com for more great tips on attracting women using your natural introvert charm. Oh, yeah.